What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Rivalry week was full of jam-packed action, a lot of close finishes, some late heroics. We even had an upset that happened there as well this past weekend. It by far was one of the best weekends of the college football season. And now leading into Champ Week, let's go through 5 more things that I have learned about some teams, about this college football season, about things moving forward here from Week 13. These are my top 5 takeaways from the action during Rivalry Week. You could take a lot more takeaways from this, but again, these are just the 5 things that I took away, or the 5 things that I would like to talk about entering next week. Before we do that, hey, I got to say thank you for all the support the channel has seen as of late. You guys have no idea. It means so much to me. And if you want to help support the channel in any way, shape, or form, you're doing one right now by watching the video, but the biggest way of doing so, hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell so you know when videos get uploaded. You can also like, you can comment, you can share, and literally anything else you do to help support the channel does mean a lot to me. But with all that out of the way, and without further ado, we're going to dive straight on into Week 13 takeaways, and let's start out with just a general thing, as now we are entering Championship Week, and this Champ Week is going to be remembered for a very, very long time, for a couple of different reasons that I will speak on now. For starters, this is going to be, for as far as we know, the last Pac-12 championship game, and it is going to be the biggest one that really I can think of that has ever happened. More than likely, when the college football playoff rankings get released, it's going to be between 2 top 5 teams in Washington and Oregon. I'd be very hard-pressed to find out with, again, Ohio State, Michigan playing out with Washington and Oregon, both of them at least not being top 5, but at very minimum, both of them will end up being top 6 teams, and the winner of that game is going to get into the college football playoff. That's a certainty. That is a guarantee, and it's going to put a close to a conference that, look, has not had the best history as far as recent history at being able to get teams into the college football playoff, but this year, just what a season it was in the Pac-12. A lot of really, really good teams, and the Conference of Champions will be coming to a close again, as far as we know, at the end of this football season. So very, very sad to see it go, but it's going to go out with a huge bang, and obviously you have a ton of other great championship games. The Big Ten Championship featuring Michigan and Iowa. You have the ACC title game featuring Florida State and Louisville, the SEC Championship, which will also be a top 10 battle, and this is the last championship week where really you could get a lot of chaos happen, a lot of discussion is going to happen, because this is the last championship week in the 4-team playoff era. Now, there are still going to be Big Ten championships and SEC championships way down the line, but they may not, to use some phrases out there that I don't like saying, but I'll use what a lot of the public is saying, this championship week may matter. Okay, let me try to rephrase. Moving down the line, championship week may not matter as much as what it is mattering now. Now, I think, for one, every week matters. Every game matters. Doesn't matter whether you're 0-11 versus 0-11, or whether you're competing for an SEC or Pac-12 championship. I, again, just love college football, and like a lot of college football fans, I do believe that every single game matters. Obviously, some are going to matter a little bit more than others in terms of the conversation to go win a national championship, but this championship week is going to feature a ton of top matchups. It's going to feature a ton of really good games, even in the group of 5 era, and I believe that because I think the G5 conversation is going to be closer than you think. Now, obviously, Tulane is still the front runner, and if they go beat the SMU Mustangs in the American Athletic Championship game, yes, they will be the team that represents the group of 5 again in a New Year's Six bowl game, but don't discount some of these other teams here. You have 2 10-win teams that are going to go at it in Conference USA. One of them happens to be undefeated. It's the Liberty Flames. They're going to face the New Mexico State Aggies, who have had a phenomenal season this year. Toledo is an 11-win team. Yes, an 11-win team. They are going to be playing for the Mid-American Conference Championship. Troy is a 10-win team that you don't see pictured here, mainly because, again, a lot of chaos is going to have to happen for them to be able to get the group of 5 spot. But again, we're going to see really what the committee thinks entering this ranking week. Would not surprise me at all to see all of Tulane, Toledo, and Liberty ranked in the top 25, right? That would not shock me one bit. That just would not shock me at all. So I've been very impressed with the way that Tulane has played. Obviously, their only loss of the year has been to a team that's probably going to finish inside the top 15 in the Ole Miss Rebels. You see again, Toledo is an 11-win team, and Liberty is one of only 5 undefeateds in college football. They absolutely get major consideration to get the group of 5 spot. Tulane, yes, is still the front runner, and if they take care of business against the SMU Mustangs, I see no reason why Tulane will not be the group of 5 team that gets in. But the committee showed us last week, Tulane is only sitting there at 23, while Liberty is there at 25. It is a very tight-knit group of 5 race. That again, we're going to get to see play out over Champ Week. Now, can chaos happen? Yes, that hasn't really been the theme of this season at all. Chaos just has not happened, but this group of 5 conversation is going to be very, very close, and I'm very interested to see how everything shapes out within the G5. Obviously, there's going to be some more conference realignment with the power conferences next year, so we'll see what happens with the G5 this year and moving forward, because again, they with the format will probably end up getting a bid to the college football playoff. At least one team will every single year. Let's go ahead and move forward now into some actual football games that took place this past week. My number 3 takeaway is we finally got our top 10 upset. The number 10 Louisville Cardinals at home against the Kentucky Wildcats. A lot of people, including myself, did not expect a letdown from this Louisville team, and I don't know if it was as much as a letdown as it was Kentucky just played a really, really good football game, and they were able to go on the road, beat their rivals in the Louisville Cardinals, and end their college football playoff hopes. But it didn't really mean that much to me. Now, I am not sitting here and discrediting the job that Kentucky did. Kentucky played a phenomenal game. Maybe compared to what some people, especially around that program, think, maybe a little bit of a subpar season. There was all the things whether or not Mark Stoops was going to leave for Texas A&M. No, he is staying in Lexington. Kentucky's going to end up making a bowl game. They're probably going to get to a pretty solid bowl game as well. And they just beat their rivals, upset the Louisville Cardinals, and ended their college football playoff hopes. But Louisville was going to have a lot of chaos to get into the college football playoff anyway. And we knew that Ohio State, Michigan was going to settle itself. I don't really consider that much of an upset. Washington and Oregon, that's going to settle itself. I wouldn't consider either team winning that game in the Pac-12 championship coming up on Friday any sort of upset there either. Alabama and Georgia, okay, it would be a mild upset if Alabama were to pull that win off, but still nothing major. We didn't have that major top 10 upset that really shook things up in the college football playoff race, and I know that all the headlines and everything around this game are going to read, the top 10 upset happened, the college football playoff conversation is shaken up. It's not really shaken up that much, though. Louisville was going to need a lot to get into the college football playoff anyway, so them losing really just kind of simplifies a whole lot of things, because even if they were to go beat Florida State in the ACC championship game now, you're not going to get into the college football playoff, and you would have needed a lot of chaos if you happen to win this game against Kentucky to reach the college football playoff in any fashion anyway. So really sitting down and looking through this, yes, it is significant because we finally got that top 10 upset, and obviously it was a big upset and it ruined Louisville's college football playoff hopes. Give a lot of credit to what Mark Stoops and Kentucky were able to do, but in terms of everything else surrounding the national conversation, it didn't really mean that much. It just sort of simplified the picture a little bit to now that, hey, even if chaos does happen and Louisville wins and all that, Louisville's not going to be a player to get into the college football playoff, sitting there with 2 losses, one of them being a pretty bad loss there to the Pittsburgh Panthers. And again, in the committee's eyes, you did just lose to an unranked Kentucky team that, look, has a lot of very good pieces. I just don't think that's going to end up reflecting well with the college football playoff committee. So Louisville now out of the college football playoff conversation. My number 3 takeaway, the one top 10 upset that we had this year, didn't really mean much in terms of the final conversation. Let's dive on into number 2, where you had a lot of late heroics keeping college football playoff contenders alive. And the craziest one is the one that you see on, I gotta point the right way, the far side of the screen there. The one that you see on the left-hand side of the screen, a bad snap forcing Alabama to back up, and then Jalen Milroe making a mistake, throwing the ball past the line of scrimmage, and you have Alabama. I believe it was 4th and goal from the 31, the 36, something like that. And Auburn didn't even rush 3. They rushed 2 and played a spy to not let Jalen Milroe get outside of the pocket and run and have Alabama try all sorts of flea flicker nonsense. Everyone raced to the end zone. The Auburn secondary got beat one-on-one. It created a one-on-one matchup for Isaiah Bond, and he went and got it. Now, was there a little pushing and shoving? Yes, but I'm not going to sit here and say that was offensive pass interference. It was very, very slight, and I give a lot of credit to the refs for not letting them dictate the game and for letting things play out. But what a phenomenal, unbelievable way. A lot of crazy things happened within the Iron Bowl. That's just another one to go into the history books. You're 40 seconds away, Auburn is, from really thinking you have this one. You're going to upset your rival. You're going to ruin Alabama's hopes to get into the college football playoff. And then Jalen Milroe and Isaiah Bond do that. Just absolutely insane. It helps Alabama stay alive in the college football playoff race. And the Florida State game, that sort of played out how I thought it was going to play out, right? I sort of figured that, hey, look, Florida's going to end up taking control of the game early on. It's not going to look too pretty for Florida State, but the Seminoles have too much skill position talent. The defense will adjust. It's too versatile, and Florida State will take control of the game late and be able to win. And that's exactly what happened. Didn't happen through the air. Maybe didn't happen in the way that a lot of Florida State fans wanted it to happen, but Trey Benson really started to take over. Some late game heroics from him, able to seal the game there against the Florida Gators. The Gators now, more likely than not, will be watching bowl season from home, as that was their 7th loss. They needed this one in order to get into a bowl game, but it keeps hopes alive for Florida State. Again, interesting to see what the committee does with them in this upcoming rankings, but Florida State, while it wasn't as high scoring as I thought it was going to be, kind of went the way that I thought it was going to, in the way that Florida took control early. Wasn't going to look good for the Seminoles, but Florida State was able to pull out some things late. That's exactly what happened. Credit to Florida State. Now you win the ACC title game, you're getting in to the college football playoff. And then for the Washington Huskies, they just all season long have had these games where they haven't really looked the prettiest, especially defensively, and there are also times where their offense just isn't really clicking. That was a game that sort of happened with Washington State. Now, Washington State never felt like they were really going to jump out to a lead at any point in the net. Well, okay, there were moments where it felt like Washington State was going to jump out to a lead, but Washington shut those down and never really felt like Washington State got control of the game. However, they did make it interesting for Washington. A kicker who was not even on scholarship. His name is escaping my mind. I'm so sorry to all of the Husky fans out there. Please comment the name in the comment section below and make fun of me all you want, because the name is escaping my mind, but makes the game-winning field goal and then gets put on scholarship after that. The beauty of college football. You love to see it. But again, these late game heroics, I think I talked about it in week 1 or week 2 or something like that, as, hey, this is going to be a theme for this year. If we don't get chaos this year, it is going to be a theme where late game heroics are going to really keep a lot of playoff contenders alive, and we almost had it happen with Kyle McCord and the Ohio State Buckeyes, except Rod Moore ended that one with the pick. So there were almost 4 things on the screen here. But speaking of the game, let's go ahead and take you to the game now. Michigan is the new standard within the Big Ten Conference. Ohio State, I felt like, played an A-, an A, maybe even to some people an A+ game. I thought they showed that they have elements of being physically tough. They had elements of being able to slow down Michigan, and Michigan probably still left some things on the field there. Felt like Michigan could have played a little bit better. In Michigan, even though the game was tied, or it felt like Ohio State had the momentum at points, Michigan was the better team from start to finish. A couple mistakes from Kyle McCord helped Michigan win that game. There was the whole controversy with the touchdown there, and obviously Ohio State fans are going to see it one way, Michigan fans are going to see another, and those of you that have no biases towards either of the two are going to think what you will, but the game was not without its controversy. However, you cannot argue that Michigan was the best team from start to finish on the field, and a late game interception by Rod Moore as Kyle McCord was under pressure, sealed it. And Michigan now 3 straight wins in the game, and they did it without Jim Harbaugh on the sideline. A lot of credit and kudos to what Sharon Moore has been able to do with this team. The amount of fire and passion and energy that he coaches with is something that is really, really fun to watch. Michigan was my preseason pick to win the national championship. Now, I know that didn't reflect in my playoff predictions in my most recent one. Yes, they will be changed on Wednesday. It was because of the way that I predicted this game to go. I thought Jim Harbaugh not being on the sideline was going to have a bigger impact than what it actually did. Michigan played really, really well. This is the team that was able to rally off of some very, very emotional moments. Zach Zinter, I believe, broke his tibia and fibula, some really, really bad leg injury. He had surgery, and hopefully he is going to be okay. I wish nothing but the best for Zinter, and hopefully Will Johnson is okay as well. He got banged up in this game as well. But Michigan is the new standard. It is no longer the Ohio State Buckeyes on top of the Big Ten Mountain. It is the Michigan Wolverines. That's what I got here from this video. Let me know of any other takeaways that you guys had in from this week and moving forward. We're going to preview and predict every single championship game on the channel over the next week. So a lot of videos that are going to be pumping out. Hey, top 25 is going to come out later today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to play hard but tailgate harder, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.